How do you reconnect with joy? Joy is something that seems to come so naturally to us when we're younger, when we're kids. Um, that open-ended curiosity, that non-assumptiveness, the non-defensiveness. What was there to defend in terms of an ego or an identity? You're just drinking the world up spontaneously, expressing yourself, writing art, making bits of music, assembling Lego blocks together. The joy of childhood is quite a natural thing. And that's not to discount things like the terrible twos and that sort of thing, because we do grow up with this instinctive wiring. There is a need to assert your individuality after a time. But there is something in so many adults that starts to get lost by the time you're well into your 20s and then onwards into your 30s and 40s. Why is that? Well, it's because we are taught to grow up, so to speak, without keeping that in balance with our inner childlike qualities, the sort of essence, natural aspects of us that are there from day one, so to speak. Finding and reclaiming joy is about finding your inner child again and allowing that inner child to express themselves, to be in balance with your adulthood self. This isn't about trading off discernment for, you know, naive joy. This is more about having a balance between the two, understanding how the world works while treating it like a big opportunity, a big playground, a big learning experience. That is the key. So, how do we get cut off from joy? Well, in a word, conditioning. We have these experiences with family, with school, at workplaces that show us that expressing ourselves or parts of ourselves are loved maybe on a conditional basis, are not desired or wanted at all. And then this leads to a more transactional and sort of wounded way of being where we feel like we have to stuff parts of ourselves under the rug, whether it's from other people or even from ourselves, depending on the kind and severity of the repression in question. And so, as a result of that, then we sort of start splitting ourselves off internally. There's these subparts that have become dissociated from our conscious waking experience, and they're kind of lying in wait in the background for some kind of opportunity to be seen, recognized, and healed in some way. Um, this said, we also, there's a theory called internal family systems. There can be wounded parts of us that have protectors which try to protect those parts of us. And the reason these protectors exist is to try and stave off the original pain that incurred when we did have an experience that was traumatic, that was overwhelming for us. What happens is a bit like cell division. Our conscious mind or ego splits itself off into a subcomponent, a subpart, and the subpart says, I'll take care of this for you, don't worry. So that harbours the pain, but the cost to that is that that part gets dissociated, it gets lost, disconnected from the conscious mind. And that's how people can start to lose aspects of themselves that they once had. A traumatic experience can cut someone off from their peace, their flow, their creativity, their ability to relate well with others, um, certain skills, even. You might, for example, have been a big fan of doing art or dance, and then you have an experience where perhaps you're humiliated, for example, and so you disavow dancing and doing art as a result. And so, henceforth, when you're invited to dance or if there's a chance to do some art, there's a part that maybe judges people who do that or says that it's silly or it's childish or just openly acknowledges, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm scared. Whatever the sort of disconnect is, the protector tries to protect us from that original pain and the original event. So to re-tap into joy, a part of that is going through pain, and a part of that is also calling these parts of ourselves back home, coming to terms with the wounds that we may have sustained when we're younger. That's one aspect of it. This is inner child work, this is shadow work, this is things like visual meditation, where you can work with these parts and bring them back home, make them conscious, integrate them. Another big part as well is the sheer matter of choice, choosing your life experience, making a choice to be more joyful, inviting more joy and curiosity and openness into your life by calling it in, paying more attention to it, taking more time to be grateful for things, or reminding yourself whenever you find yourself closed minded, for example, to be more open minded, not in a judgmental way, like, oh, there I go again, being closed minded, but no, rather something like, I see I'm being a bit closed minded. I remind myself that it's okay, it's safe, I'm going to be a bit more open minded here. Just that kind of gentle guidance. And as we make more choices that align with the qualities of joy and with love for ourselves and the world, that more open stance, playful, exploring attitude, that will then more naturally become our habit of being. So one is going through the pain, processing it, and another is to cultivate the joys and the positive states that you want to see in your life. Another way to find joy is finding your relative purpose on earth. You might find my other video on finding your purpose useful for that. There's a bit of a duality, a dance between purpose and pain. Oftentimes, some of our most formative negative experiences inform a kind of life path that leads to a purpose that brings us a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. It's something we flow with, we're naturally good at. We're very experienced in the matter of our purpose thanks to these events from the past. I'm not entirely sure if that's always the case, but quite often it's the case that the two are bound up together, the past pain and the relative purpose of our life. And so, yeah, my invitation to you is to allow more joy into your life because you deserve it and it's your choice. So why not? Why not be happy, irrespective of external circumstances? And I know the pull of the world is very strong. It can feel so immersive. The emotional moods that we can inhabit can feel as real as gravity. So I totally get it. But it's always that practice of reminding yourself of what's possible. This is your life, and this is your choice. The way that you are tempted to look at things that are more negative and disempowering, overly robotic, hiding oneself, just protecting oneself. These are things built up from the past, and so they can be deconstructed and reassembled into a way of living that works for you and serves yourself and others better too in that process. So yeah, I think I'll stop there. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, I'd very much welcome them. And also, if you found this useful, enjoyed it, do give it a like, give my channel a subscription. It really helps me to get more of my content out there to help other people like yourself. Okay, thank you so much again, and see you soon. Take care.